Hello and welcome back to the Warwick F1 Show. This week we're going to be previewing the Canadian Grand Prix. We're going back to Montreal. It's looking like it's going to be a very wet weekend this week, which we don't really know who that's going to suit. The only time we've seen any rain this year was back in China, and we saw that actually Mercedes looked relatively good, which was surprising to say the least given their form this year. So I'm joined today by Callum as always. How are you, Callum?
Well, as we've already covered, my voice isn't great, which is why I didn't volunteer to host. So I do sound like a child going through puberty at the moment. So hopefully, please excuse that for this episode. But yes, apart from that, I'm doing well, thank you. Yes, yeah. And I see you've already taken as well. All Kingswood obviously couldn't join us today, so you've obviously taken the role of the Mercedes. Hopefulness for this podcast.
Well, contrary to what I normally do, where I slander them down the drain. Yes. And then we're also joined by James today, who's a recurring guest. How are you, James?
Good, yeah.
That's good. So we'll move on kind of to who we think is going to do well this weekend. Montreal, quite a high-speed track, lots of long straights, lots of overtaking opportunities, which is something we've not really seen a lot of this year. But there's also a lot of heavy braking. So those cars like the Ferrari that do well in slow corners and not so much the high speed will have the same opportunity. We look at the big long back straight comes out of a really slow hairpin, and we've got a lot of slow kind of chicanes as well around the track. So starting with you, Callum, who do you think is going to do well this weekend?
Excuse me. I do quite fancy the Ferraris to. I think for them at least it's quite in their hands of doing well. They're coming off a very strong weekend, obviously from Monaco, Leclerc getting his maiden victory, and obviously Ferrari, maiden victory at home, I should say, and they've certainly been very strong around Canada in previous years, and so I think personally for them it's more in their hands, especially given the run of form, and they'll definitely hope to take. I think they could be. It's realistic for them to hope for a win. I don't see why they couldn't. I don't see why either driver really couldn't get to the top step of the podium really. And so I'd honestly say maybe they're the favourites. I'm realising that I haven't actually predicted a Ferrari win in my prediction, so I don't. But yeah, I think that they would hope for a lot out of this weekend. I think
that would be the first time a team other than the Red Bulls won back-to-back races since Ferrari did it at Silverstone in Austria in 2022. Oof, so we can hope. James, how about you? Who do you think is going to do well this week?
Ferrari will be strong as well, because I mean they're good in the low-speed corners, and quite a lot of those are Canada. They're good over the bumps and curves. Red Bulls struggle with running the car low. And it's quite bumpy and curvy. It has been resurfaced, but they're still expected to be a bit bumpy.
Yeah, like you said, we have got kind of that same issue we had in Monaco with the curbs, which, we might see Red Bull having an issue, but I think there's too much straight line speed for them to struggle. Who do you think is going to do badly? I think, for me, Aston Martin might really struggle. I don't think they've optimised their car well at all. It just didn't look good around Monaco. And they've not particularly got good straight line speed, so this is like a combination of all their weaknesses into one. So I think we might see them struggle.
Yeah, and they have not really had a very good run into this race weekend at all in terms of the past weekends. I'm seeing here in Monaco, obviously, neither driver finished outside the points. So Alonso getting P11th and then Stroll in 14th. Obviously, they didn't have the best qualifying as well, which is obviously a big part of that. And Alonso really hasn't been himself. Really, I guess when you look at that team, you'd say Alonso he's the key person. You'd say of getting consistent points. As we all know what Lance Stroll's like. So it's I'd say with him not performing at his best, I'd say for the past few race weekends, that's where you'd see the entire team struggling a little bit, and so. Although this weekend they are certainly going to be wanting to turn around that form. I'm like I say, I'm not sure if they would be capable of that personally. And then I think they're the main ones that would struggle around here, I'd say.
James, how about yourself?
Well, the only thing I'd say with Aston Martin is Alonso did come second here last year, only less than 10 seconds off Verstappen, so
But he did come on the podium last year at Monaco and
I
then
know.
finished 11th as well. So it's,
Who's going to struggle here? Well, who's not good round the low speed corners? Is it?
it's a bit of a tricky one.
It's a
I
bit
think-
of a tricky one. I think Mercedes have been struggling a bit with low speed corners recently, although they did do decently in Monaco. But
And also we've covered that as if there is a very high chance of rain, especially in qualifying, then that could change everything up. Because as you've said, we haven't really had a chance yet to observe how good those cars perform under race conditions in proper rain. So that could really, which is good obviously, because that means we're in store for hopefully an exciting race. But it just means that no one has any idea what is or for the teams as well. It's going to be very difficult to predict exactly who's going to be on top.
Yeah, I think Haas will be a bit of an interesting one as well, because we've seen they were like okay around Monaco with their they had like a reasonably good qualifying. I think both cars went out in Q2, but again, that's not horrendous. Williams will be an interesting one because Alex Albon had a really good race in Monaco, but can they have that high speed they're kind of known for lately with the low speed cornering? That will kind of be their challenge, I think. So I think we might see Williams struggle a bit as well.
Albon took P8 in Canada last year, but that Williams is not so great in the straight line this year.
Yeah, I
it's a bit
think.
more of an all-round car rather than a particularly strong straight line car.
But do you think that for Williams, their issues are going to be with the Sector 1 and Sector 2, with the kind of low and medium speed corners, and that's where it's going to kind of be the difference for Williams, I suppose.
Possibly.
Yeah, I think it'll be getting the setup right. I think they've had a lot of experience over the last few years with specifically high speed car, really good, but not particularly performing well other than Albon, really, when he's maximised that car. So it'll be interesting to see kind of that balance he has.
We're saying Williams, we're talking
about
Alex
Albon.
Albon.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
we're not talking about a certain American driver.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that's kind of a good preview for what we said. I think James said it's been resurfaced as well. So that with the rain, we might get Turkey 2020 vibes with some
Yes.
interslicks. That'll be good fun. Maybe we'll see a no-stop race. Who knows? All the fun that would bring.
That will be interesting. Coming off of Monaco with, and then no stop.
But we'll move on to some predictions now. So I think, Callum, you've got the predictions from last week, as neither of us were here.
Yes, we didn't. Unfortunately, we unfortunately forgot to do the predictions in our review of Monaco. So I thought, we'd go through that. So would you? Well, you wanted, you've got your predictions there. If you wanted to talk through those.
Callum on my behalf, rather against my will, seemingly, put Carlos Sainz to win, which we know didn't happen, and Leclerc second, which should have been the other way around. Norris third, Perez fourth, and Verstappen fifth. So I get 3 points from that because Norris was fourth, Leclerc was first, Sainz was third, and then Perez and Verstappen outside the top five. We had 3 drivers straight line the chicane. I don't know if that.
I don't even think that actually happened. I can't even think of one moment where
I'm sure it happened once or twice. I don't think it happened 3.
Maybe not 3 times.
2, we had 0 non-pit stop overtakes after that
That
one.
also
didn't happen.
That was Bottas had an overtake.
And then 3 was a 4+ driver car park, which we
were
almost
so
had.
close to have that, and that happened. It did happen in F3 as well. It had that massive.
Oh, that was where they got stuck together.
Yeah,
there was like 6 of them.
That was ridiculous. But 1 too fewer or 1 too many for
Do you
what
want me just to go
actually
through the rest of these quickly?
Yeah, you can do.
Cool.
So,
Jay get a bit stuck behind Perez and the Haas's.
Yeah.
Yeah, not sure if he DNF though, did he?
No, he was just slow. And then so Will Kingswood put Charles Leclerc first, so which is probably why you didn't, because he would have been before you.
Maybe. Yes, exactly. That's
redeemed.
That's definitely what happened.
So Will Kingswood put Leclerc first, Norris second, Verstappen third, Hamilton fourth, and Piastri fifth. So he gets 5 points because he got Leclerc right, which is 3, and then Norris and Piastri are both top 5, but neither in the right position, and then Verstappen and Hamilton both outside.
Yeah.
He then had someone to hit the inside wall in the swimming pool section. I assume that was in the race, he meant.
Yeah, but I think that did happen because he didn't. I remember he specified that it didn't have to be a DNF, and I'm pretty sure someone might have made
a lot of people did. Pretty much everyone.
Contact with it, but it didn't affect them very much.
Yeah.
So I think
we'll give him that as well.
Yeah.
Mercedes. Am I reading this correctly? Mercedes podium.
I know. It's difficult to.
And then his 3 point was 0 DNFs, which fell away after a corner. So that's 6 points for Will in total.
Indeed.
And then Chinmay had Verstappen first. Norris. He didn't have the winner in his top 5.
Seriously?
No, he had Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Perez, Sainz.
That is very
which is a grand total of 3 points. He then had non-top 3 team finishes qualifying top 6.
Which
I think did, because they finished in the order they qualified, so Russell would give him that.
Oh yes, because it's not. Yeah, it's
because Mercedes aren't a top 3 team.
No, we're not saying they're a top 3
you've heard it here.
Yeah.
Mercedes
that's fine. So Russell was 5th in qualifying. And so
Leclerc ruined by Ferrari's strategy. He didn't have the opportunity to be.
That surprisingly actually did not happen.
He didn't get the chance to.
No, but I think that's why he didn't.
But he did it well anyway.
I think that's why he didn't predict Leclerc in the top 5 is because he thought Leclerc was going to blunder and the curse, and then he was going to drop outside the top 5 as a result. 3,
red flag every day. Was there a red flag in qualifying?
I don't.
Or FP3?
I don't.
I feel like there must have been. There wasn't the race.
Oh, yeah, it was in the race.
We'll check that later.
We'll come back to that.
Because the only time there might have been one would have been FP. He would need one FP3 because there wasn't one in qualifying. Qualifying was fine. I think there might have been one in FP3. You know, the Chinmay nail his 3 point.
Tell you what, if we want to do, if we check that, and then we'll come back to that. We'll do our. We'll move on to our predictions for Canada, and well, so I'm going to be taking. So obviously, Will Kingswood and Chinmay could not be here today, so James is going to be taking the place of Will Kingswood, and I'm going to be taking the role of Chinmay, and that means that James does have first pick this week on picking Verstappen first. So
I can confirm before we do that, there was a red flag in FP3.
Oh, there was? Okay.
When Valtteri Bottas clipped the wall at the swimming pool, which means Chinmay did get his 3 points.
Oh, really?
It's FP3, they red flag everything.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah, there was 3 points. That's quite a generous 3 point prediction for Monaco.
Yeah,
that's like 2... Like, if you said, like, practice, quali and race, yeah. But...
I have to review that.
Yes, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, but
provisionally, yes, he has it.
Yeah.
But yes,
so that's impressive from.
So James, who are you saying going back to Canada? Who is your prediction to be first?
Verstappen, but I think it'll be very close with him.
Okay.
I just think
still haven't lost.
Cautious to put anyone else first.
Everyone's still going Verstappen.
Still haven't lost faith quite yet. Yeah. I think maybe after this race,
we'll see how.
If he doesn't win this race and struggles, then it might start to shift.
So just for a reminder for those of you who don't know or are new listeners, we take in turns to pick who's first, and it alternates each week. And then we do and we can't have the same driver first. But then everyone else in the top 5 is just free will. So I could pick Verstappen to be in my top 5, or Callum can, etc. And if you get them in the right place, it's 3 points. Or if they're in the top 5 but not the right place, it's 1 point. So I'm second this week, and I'm going back to my homer pick. I'm going to go Leclerc.
Making up for pick from last week.
Yeah, I think coming off of his first victory in almost 2 years, his confidence is going to be really high. He's finally won at home. I think as well, the thing that is going to be really important is Ferrari have had that chance now to understand what their upgrades have done. They had the chance to look back at that MLA data and look at it and really understand it. Because let's be honest, no one uses Monaco data. It's not really representative. So they're going to have a good understanding of how that car is, which we saw, like, yes, McLaren won in Miami with their new upgrades, but they weren't the best car there, I would argue. I think they got a little bit of luck. But then they looked really good in Imola. And so I think Ferrari, now they've got that understanding, will then be able to set their car up just right.
Okay, well, actually, after you saying that, is kind of poo-pooed my first pick, because I go with Norris.
I mean, that'll still be good.
Yeah. I think McLaren will be up there. If I'm honest, I was debating between Norris and Leclerc. I like to say I don't think it'll be Verstappen, but then I've obviously been forced into that decision, so we'll see. I think it will be between McLaren and Ferrari, and I think out of those two teams, it's going to be either Leclerc or Norris, as they're kind of the not necessarily the leading drivers, but at the moment they've been on the ones that are on the best form currently, and so I think Norris is a good shout for Canada, and I do really favour it with him.
Yeah. Okay, James, do you want to run us through the rest of your top 5 then, please?
Rest of my top 5, I've gone for second Leclerc, third Sainz, fourth Norris, fifth Piastri.
Okay.
I think we'll be close, but I think Ferrari will go well at Canada with the low-speed corners and the bumps and the curbs. But I mean, it's not that dissimilar to Miami though. McLaren was strong there. Obviously, rain creates a lot of uncertainty. So there's Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Norris, Piastri. I've got with Leclerc and Norris on better form at the moment, so I've got them ahead of their teammates.
Yeah.
So again, finding it safe in
Very similar to
Verstappen,
Australia,
and then,
kind of.
Yeah, Verstappen and then the 2 Ferraris and 2 McLarens, and it's not. Certainly at the moment, that's not seeming like a bad shout at all. And as they're all the drivers who seem to be up there currently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going what I think they actually will be. So I think this is what will happen. No tactical Verstappen.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So
right.
Norris second,
Okay.
Sainz third, Verstappen fourth, Perez fifth. I think Montreal traditionally
Perez.
really bad on tyres.
So who have you missed out?
Oscar Piastri has dreadful tyre management.
So yes,
I've left
okay.
Piastri out.
Right.
I love Piastri. I think he's probably one of my favourite drivers on the grid, if not my favourite. But he can't manage his tyres.
Right.
And it's not like Monaco where he can get away with it. I think at the end we'll see, like Perez will qualify badly probably, but the race car will be good enough that he'll get through the field here. So I think we'll see Perez sneak in. I just think the McLaren and the Ferrari both ride the curbs so much better than the Red Bull. It will just give them that advantage.
Yeah. No, I certainly wouldn't be surprised with that kind of with that advantage of the McLarens and the Ferraris, which is why I've gone Verstappen fifth. Definitely not any sort of tacticalness there. So I've gone with Leclerc second. So again, I thought that it would be either
Between
one of
those
those two kind of battling for the lead, and I think that Leclerc will just miss out. I have actually gone Piastri, rounding out the last step of the podium.
I hate it.
It's certainly a chance for it, I think. Sainz fourth. I did obviously pick Sainz first last week, and starting to lose, not lose faith in him. He's still obviously put in some.
I don't think
really
he's quite
solid
gelled with the
performances.
new upgrades yet.
Yes, perhaps, and certainly compared to where he was at the start of the season, where he looked incredibly strong, and he looked like he was going to be kind of the main Ferrari driver for that season. He's kind of fallen a bit behind now, I think, Leclerc. But I still think he'll be up there. He'll be in P4, and then Verstappen P5, just because, I think he'll be up there.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good race. And then we'll go on to our kind of predictions. So, James, what are your kind of 1, 2 and 3 point predictions?
Prediction is going to be McLaren get at least 20 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know they haven't scored a point at Canada since 2014, but their car's good now. And so hopefully they'll get a big point haul.
Yeah.
2 points. I'm going to go with at least 2 safety cars. Is that okay? Or
Yeah, I think if you're happy with
I think that's fair
at
enough.
least 2 safety cars in the
Okay.
race. If it's Canada, the barriers are close, and if it might be wet, we're going to get a bit of chaos.
And then
your 3 point
prediction.
Mercedes lead a lap. That wasn't too hard.
Wow.
Or
I mean, that's quite
too-
brave. That would
too-
require them staying out longer than everyone.
Something chaotic might happen.
Yeah, it
in
might
that race
be
in
that
Canada.
they may. Well, to be fair, that if it is raining, then we
It's
would see
more
some kind of
good in
different
the rain
strategizing.
in China.
Yeah, I think
It might be that they try and do something a bit different from everyone else to try and just get some advantage, or just for any sort of chance. So maybe they.
try to do well.
No, exactly. To put it bluntly, but
Well, they'll probably get their
it's-
strategy wrong. That seems
well,
more
we can
likely.
say whatever we like about Mercedes now because Kingswood isn't here to defend them. So, take this.
They've just been mugs with their
opportunity.
strategy lately.
Yeah. It's
They need to,
pretty much.
pull the finger out. So my 1 point is kind of similar to James's 2 point, but I've gone this just need 1 safety car. I think it's basically guaranteed. It's Canada. There's gonna be some rain.
With and as well with some sections, obviously it's quite enclosed in the track, so it's not. If a driver does crash out, then it's not like
Yeah, it's not easily
run off, and
recoverable.
exactly. Yeah,
And they've
so
actually got rid of I think the end of the second DRS, there used to be like a really long run off. They've put gravel there now.
What, at the end of the...
The second like mini straight.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just gonna be, oh, I've broken late and now I can cut the corner.
Now you're beached,
now you're
yes.
now you're out. So we might actually get some DNFs this week.
Yes.
My 2 point is that at least one of the Astons doesn't score points, which I don't know. I can make it both.
Stroll, yes, yeah, of course.
But I can make it Aston doesn't score points. But I mean, Stroll's been better than Alonso the last.
Oh, so did you
weekends.
say?
I said at least one.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
I will make it both because otherwise it seems a bit basic. Because I mean, I won't. And then my 3 pointer is that both Alpines get in the points.
That is very much a 3-pointer. It is, they're yeah. That's have they've only had, how many points are they even on? Because they had
like 3.
Is it 1 point each?
Is it 1 point because Gasly did score a point
I can't remember off the
last
one or
weekend
two.
in Monaco.
And
They are
Miami.
they are on 2 points.
So they've had one each.
So 1 point each.
Yeah, get them both in. They'll triple their points tally.
I just but in my mind that's an Alpine in 9th place. That's just not right in my mind.
But I'm like,
where's the 3-point prediction? So I suppose that's it's got to be very unlikely.
I think there's a chance it could happen, you know. And then Callum.
So my 1 point prediction is, well, I say Perez finishes outside the top 6.
Yeah, I mean you can have that. It doesn't seem likely, but sure.
So I say outside the top 4.
You can say 5.
Top 5. Okay, fair enough.
Because like I'm the only one that's put him in my top 5.
Yes, fair enough. Yeah, so I'll say that. I think,
You might want to add or DNFs.
Or DNFs.
Because at the moment you're implying that he does finish.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
Wow.
If he doesn't finish inside the top 5, then
okay, yeah.
So he doesn't finish inside the top 5. That's a better way of putting it. Sorry. But yeah, I think I put my faith in Perez last weekend. It didn't work, and so yeah, he's I think it's going to be a little while, but then who knows? Maybe the new contract kind of gives him a bit of confidence going into the race, and he feels like a bit of pressure come off of him. So it might be better for him. Then second point prediction. Excuse me. I'm going to say that a driver hits the wall of champions in qualifying.
Okay.
So obviously we said the last time that had happened was
K-Mag and the Rich Energy has in 2019.
Indeed. And moving on to Magnussen, our favourite driver to watch currently, I'm going to say for my 3-point prediction, he gets over 20 seconds worth of penalties.
So he'll have to go a long way in the race and not crash out instantly.
That's true, yeah.
So good luck
that's
with that.
maybe why it's a 3-point prediction.
Yeah.
Because
otherwise it would happen.
It implies he has to stay in the race.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be
disqualified.
some more K-Mag destruction as we've seen in previous weekends. I'd say it might.
Okay. So I think that kind of rounds up our predictions then.
Indeed.
So I think it could be an interesting race this week, I think, to say the least. But no, I think that's all from us.
Especially if, again, as we said, especially if some rain makes it, which would be the first one of the season, it could be
actual
very
rain-affected
very
feature race if you want.
Yes.
Have either of you got anything you want to add before we?
No. I think that pretty much rounds
Yeah,
up.
I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening.